All right. So I'm not super polished at making these kinds of videos, but hopefully this will go okay. So what I wanted to do was show you this brand new FD-4000 reproduction drive, which is being produced and sold by Core i64. Apologies if in a previous video I accidentally called them Core i95. So this drive has a 3D printed case. The original had a metal case, but it is what they call visually faithful. So when you look at it, it actually looks just like an original. But if you look really close, you'll say, okay, well that's actually it's not metal. Now, several other things came in the box. It came with a floppy disk containing the FD tools and other programs that CMD originally shipped with the drive. It comes with this, at least mine came with this little adapter thingy here, which you can slip on to a disk, and it gives you a guide hole for drilling a hole through the disk to attempt to convert an HD disk into an ED disk. Now, it doesn't always work because only some HD disks can actually have ED data stored on them. So an HD disk is basically the 2 megabyte disk unformatted, and an ED disk is basically a 4 megabyte disk unformatted. And then depending on the format, you get different sizes. Additionally, it comes with this power brick, which I think is pretty cute. It's very, very small. Cable's a nice length. The actual jack on the power cable doesn't fit, so it came in the box with this adapter that you plug in there. So there you go. So let's just set that one aside. Now it also came with this Allen key, very, very small Allen key, which is used for removing the top case. It's supposed to come with an Allen key for removing the board on the inside. That one got skipped with me for whatever reason, just by accident. He offered to mail me another one, but I already had one that is the right size, so that's no worry. And then I have here a couple other tools that I'll be using, a little screwdriver to remove the drive mechanism, and a pair of tweezers is always super handy. So, to begin with, we'll flip the drive upside down, and there are 4 holes there, and we use this guy here to remove the hex screws. So we just seat this guy into the bolt, okay, so it's seated, and we need, I don't know, about 10 rotations. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe a couple more just for good measure, 11, 12, and that should pop it out of there. That did pop it out of there. All right, 1 down, 3 to go. Get that seated into the, okay, seated in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, that should do that. It did. Okay, 2 down, 2 to go. I have done this once before, so hopefully this video will go a little smoother than an earlier attempt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 for good measure. Okay. And one more. I personally think that this case design is actually pretty slick. There's a couple of cool things about it that I'm going to show you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is probably about good. Okay, that's the fourth screw. So it's pretty easy to take those screws out. Hex screws, so we'll set that Allen key aside. So now we could just lift the top right off, like this. And something kind of cool that I wanted to show is that the 3D printed case has these little metal, I don't know what they're called. They're little metal inserts that are embedded into the 3D print. And so the screws are actually threading into the metal pieces, which means that you're not putting any wear on the plastic when you put those screws in and out. Unlike with an original Commodore 64 or even an Amiga, it always kind of bugs me when I remove the screws from the case of a Commodore 64 that you know, the plastic is old and the screws going directly into the plastic, and so you have to be very, very careful, and usually the plastic cracks. Now the next kind of cool thing that I wanted to show, we can see the drive mechanism is basically in the top there, but I wanted to show that this back panel, pretty cool, it actually slots in there. So you could just pull it up, and look at that back panel is its own kind of standalone piece. Now the other thing, I don't know if you have ever taken apart old electronics before, but even these little cables, they feel modern. Like they feel really silky smooth, and they're very bendy, and they're great. They're you know, modern things are just, man. Okay, so to remove this drive, the first thing I'm going to do is unscrew. There's two screws there and two screws on the other side. So we'll use this screwdriver here to remove those screws. So I might want to use my tweezers to grab the screw, because my fingers are chunky and I love these tweezers for being able to grab small components. Okay, so it's very, very easy, right? So far, pretty easy. And we'll just remove these other two screws. And again, these screws are going directly into the metal of the drive mechanism, so you're not putting any significant wear or damage on the 3D printed case. Okay, so now we can see that so this back panel, we'll just pull that off. The drive just lifts right out of there, and I'm going to pop that out. We'll just make note of its orientation. This little notch here is on the top, and we'll pop this cable out. And so there's the drive mechanism. It is an ED drive mechanism. I don't know how rare these are, and I don't know where he gets them, but it looks pretty new. And yeah, I mean, it looks the same as a regular floppy drive mechanism, except it seems to me that there's some little jumpers over here. There's nothing on those pins, so I'm not sure what those are for. But it is an ED mechanism, which means that it'll take those extended density disks. So just set this guy aside. And have a looky in here. We have a brand new, totally new board layout, which is pretty awesome. It looks super shiny and new. And now I'm not really sure what all these parts are, but they're all socketed. All the chips are socketed, so if anything goes bad, it's very easy to pull them out. This is a 65CO2 CMOS 6502 CPU from WDC. I think that these are still being manufactured new. I'm not exactly sure if I can see the year on it. My eyes are not really that great. Yeah, I'll take some pictures of those later. This here is the optional RTC module. So it looks like there was an FD-4000 DOS chip socketed there, and the DOS chip has been pulled out, the RTC module has been popped into its place, and then the DOS chip has been put into a socket on that little board. And then you have a battery here, a CR2032, to keep the RTC date and time. It's optional, but if you're going to be using a drive like this for an operating system, either C64OS, obviously, which I'm promoting and selling, but also if you're going to use the drive for geos or anything really that cares about timestamping files, I highly recommend that you get the RTC. Yeah, and then there's a couple other fat chips. I'm not sure exactly what this socket thing here is doing there without a chip in it. I don't know. There's also maybe a couple of little jumpers on there. Not sure exactly what those are for. And then there's obviously there are two IEC ports, just like on the original drive, and the dip switches for selecting between a variety of IEC device numbers. Now, to remove the actual board, which I'm going to do, there are just two hex bolts there, one there and one there. The rest of the board kind of slides into the case. The case is actually quite cleverly designed. The board really just kind of, everything just sort of snaps in. So when the drive mechanism fits in, it's actually resting on two rails, so it sits exactly where it's supposed to sit. This back panel slides in and out. It looks to me like the front panel might also kind of slot in and out, but I didn't want to force it, and I'm not exactly sure what's holding it in place. But the board itself also slots in, and it's just being held in place by those two hex bolts at the back. So I'm gonna loosen them, and I don't even think I really have to take them out of where they are. Don't think I really have to do that. Okay, let's see if that's enough. That is enough. Okay, so I'll show you first this board here. As you can see, the board kind of slots in, and there's like little risers at the back here that pushes the board up so that it rests in the right spot. So it really kind of slots in. It's quite a clever design. And then you can see here that the two hex bolts are also going into those little metal inserts, threaded metal inserts, so that you're not damaging the plastic. So yeah, it's pretty. That's the case. And then we have the board. I mean, there's not much to see really on the board. A couple of LEDs on the front and the swap button. We have a revision number here. So this is an FD-4000 revision 2991. I don't know exactly what those numbers mean. And there's the bottom. Oh, my hex bolts are falling in. No problem. There's the bottom of the board. Looks really, really great. I'm blown away that this is available today in 2024 as a brand new production. Super, super, super stoked. Super stoked. There we go. All right, so now I think we're done with that. And as I said, I'll take some high-res photos a little later so that you can get a kind of, if anyone's interested in seeing more detailed images of the chips, for example. Slide that into place. And we'll see if this guy just screws down, which it should. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So smooth. Put this guy back in place. I use my tweezers here. It's a perfect example of what the tweezers are awesome for. Because fat fingers are just very annoying. And tweezers are just so great. All right. Pop that back in there. Isn't that it's just incredibly easy, right? To take the whole thing apart. Like, man, that's just a snap. So easy to get that back together. All right, so now let's drop the mechanism back. Let's drop the mechanism back in there. And again, you know, it's very, very straightforward. Make sure we get that oriented correctly. And it just sits right down onto that little, track that slides back and forth. That snaps in there. Okay, so now we'll put a screw back in to hold that in place. Okay. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Put a little screw back in there. Next, I used my tweezers again. Hold on. This way. Okay, pretty straightforward, right? Pretty great. Another screw into place. Now, I don't have an original FD-2000 or FD-4000, so I'm not exactly sure how much or how different this case design is than the original. CMD is pretty well known for making pretty slick cases that were really easy to get into and to see the insides and to remove the boards and so on. I do have a CMD hard drive, and it was very convenient to get into. But this one is also really slick and easy. So there we go. And now we're just going to put the top case back on and call it a day. And there's also, maybe I'll point out here, there are also little, there are little tabs here and here, and there's like a ridge along here. So this ridge along here slots into the top of this back panel, keeping that back panel, the top of the back panel, nice and stable. And the little ridges up here, they snap into this section up here, and just everything just holds together beautifully. Okay, so it just sets down like that. It's also quite it's quite light. Quite light. All right. So all we have to do now, put these guys in. I found putting them in to be actually a little bit easier than taking them out, just because you feel the resistance when you're putting them in, so you know when you're finished threading them. When you're taking them out, you know, the first time I did it, I kind of had to guess as to how many rotations I needed. So there we go. Putting them back in is a little easier. I'm not really counting these, I'm just feeling for the resistance. There we go. Now let's count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yeah, 10. It was about 10. Okay. Drop this guy in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. And there you have it, folks. The FD-4000, brand new, from Core i64. Ha! Gotta get that number right. Some little ventilation holes, and all these nice little stickers that actually say Creative Micro Designs. This little power switch, the power jack, the dip switches for the device number, 2 serial ports, some ventilation holes on that side. Beautiful sticker on the front panel with a power, an activity, and an error LED. A swap button to swap device numbers. And there it is. All right. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.